So I'm doing a bit of a double whammy here. I've already just recorded something, so if I run out of ideas halfway and this becomes a short video, then sorry, but let's see where we go. So this video might seem a little bit out of place because I don't really talk about specific things like brands. I really wanted to make a point about these shoes that are made by Vivo Barefoot, and they're not the only brand by any means. But quick history about me is that I damaged my ankle in terms of the cartilage. If any of you know, when you damage your cartilage, unfortunately, like unless you're really lucky and it's something really minor, it will never heal. And the pain the cartilage damage causes, the same as kind of arthritic pain. If anyone that's got arthritis in any joints, it's really excruciating. And if you catch your joint at the wrong angle when you're doing even walking or slightly going uphill, the pain is insane and it makes you literally fall or like stumble, because your body immediately says, you know, get the weight off of that limb. So anyway, then I tried lots of experimentation with different types of shoe, and I thought the more support the better. The same with like a twisted knee or something like that. You always think, oh, I'll wear a support, I'll strap it up, anything like that, that will just give it more support so it can heal. Unfortunately, when it comes to cartilage, at least in my experience and the studies that I've seen, because it never heals, no amount of support or strapping is going to help it get better. You're never going to suddenly get less pain. And actually, in my case, what I found was that the more support that I used, so for example, I got like some big Timberland boots, I wore them like really tightly strapped up. All that happened was that it actually hurt more. Whether or not it was putting it at a certain angle, I don't really know. What was happening is that I was getting worse and worse pain the more that I supported it. So I was at a bit of a crossroads as to whether to buy some really expensive, cushiony, sort of like Asics kind of shoes, or some really minimalist shoes. And then I sort of already seen them and I was a bit intrigued by them, and I come across the barefoot shoes, specifically from Vivo Barefoot, which you've probably seen ads everywhere. So I'm not affiliated with them or anything like that, but one of their marketing points was that they increase foot strength by, I don't know, 60% or something like that. A bit of an ambiguous statement, doesn't really mean a lot. I don't really know where I was going with it, but I thought, hey, you know what? More support hurts, let's go less. Let's go minimalism. You know, I was thinking more about like, how would we naturally walk? Like maybe I've injured it because of certain footwear that we have in the modern day. So I took the plunge, and it was quite expensive. You know, it's probably about 120 pounds, maybe like 140 for like such a minimalist shoe. Yeah, you know, I was kind of like gritting my teeth a bit, but they offer like a 3-month warranty of like a no haggle, send them back, no questions asked, get your money back. So I thought, okay, well, I've got nothing to lose. At least I can try and see if it alleviates the pain. And I can honestly say, to my absolute astonishment, the reason I'm making this video, obviously, is because the pain that I felt decreased in frequency by a lot. And I really often wear the minimalist shoes because I'm now like a super fan of Vivo Barefoot, because although they're very expensive, they have great customer service and all that, so I kind of think okay about the price and the returns policy, etc. I was willing to do anything, any amount of money, just to reduce that pain. You know, the only offer from the health service was, you know, we'll do the physio, etc., which was great, but then if that doesn't work, then you're kind of looking at however many years down the line. If it still keeps getting worse, then you're just going to get surgery. And if you're someone that's pro-surgery, that's fine. I am pro-surgery, but I'm just saying that, you know, you want to kind of avoid that at all costs if you can, because there are so many risks associated with any surgical procedure, ranging from like drug reactions to, you know, allergies to sort of nicked nerves, for example. It's not necessarily about like bleeding to death or anything like that. That's very, very unlikely. But your quality of life can be severely impacted. You know, it could go wrong. It could be, you can get a bone infection. You want to avoid those surgical risks at all costs. So for me, that was off the cards. I was never going to do that until it gets like, I can't walk on it. Unfortunately, I did have to give up my dance, which was potentially a big culprit for that. Is all the different positions that I used to do in ballet and tap, a lot of one-footed jumping and leg work, which who knows at what point, because I just can't pinpoint a time when I actually damaged it, but obviously it happened. I don't know if it was just repetitive strain or if it was one big sprain that I can't remember. I feel like I would remember it if it was something so significant, but I just don't. So it really affected my quality of life. There was a lot of things that I wanted to do and a lot of sports that I loved, and the dancing and things like just walking up a hill, which you don't ever think about doing until it starts to really hurt. And alongside this, which I said about the physio kind of therapy, is that you do have to build that strength up around the joint if you can. Obviously, I'm lucky. I'm not saying that everyone's going to have the same experience, but my reduced pain, my recovery from the really bad pain and very frequent, like I couldn't really do anything at the time, was because I strengthened the muscles, and I believe I strengthened the tendons and the ligaments around my ankle joint. It's like a supporting structure. That's what your tendons and ligaments and muscles are for. They support your joints. They allow your bones to move around each other, which are joined at the joint, obviously. But when they are weak and you wear a lot of supportive shoes and a lot of spongy shoes, it's very easy to roll your ankle or very easy to sprain something, because we don't walk barefoot and we don't walk without loads of support. There is no need for the body to sort of maintain that strength of the structure. Then you get damage like mine, which completely ruins your quality of life. So anyway, strengthen that. And the main one for me was something called plyometrics, and it's kind of like where you're almost like springing. So when you do a jump, you kind of like control it, you bend your knees and you kind of squat down as you do a jump, like that's a normal jump. But then with plyos, you kind of like spring. So it's almost like a springboard. So you don't bend your knees or anything like that. You're really like springing around that joint, which is quite easy to do with an ankle because you literally just like hop like a rabbit, but without any bend in the knees. You're kind of like springboarding off of the floor. Obviously do a solid floor. And if you can, do that without shoes, because that's the best way to make sure that you're not just relying on the bounce of the sole on your trainers, you're relying on the strength or strengthening of the muscles and the ligaments and the tendons around the joint. So yeah, I really recommend that to anyone that's got any kind of arthritic-y or any joint kind of pain, anything articular. For me, it's just been life-changing, because now I can do things. I can run, I can walk, for example, because that used to be really difficult, just walking. If it doesn't help, I'm really, I'm sorry that it doesn't. I really hope that you find some sort of solution, even if it's surgical. I really hope it does give you the relief that you need. But like I say, I'm not affiliated with them or anything like that, but I go barefoot shoe, like trainer, and I now run in them. I walk most of the time in barefoots, and I do my gym sessions in the barefoots as well, especially the plyos, because the whole point is to support those tissues and strengthen them. So if you're suffering like I was, or periodically still do, I know it's time to get back in the gym and start doing some more plyos, more than my maintenance potentially, and you kind of do it to a level where you really start to live your life again without that pain, or at least a tolerable level of pain. So I wish you the best, and I really hope this helps.